Yeehaw! The plot of today's story is that of a heist. It's that of one of the biggest heists in Scandinavian history. And I realise that it's another Sunday, and you know what that means? It is podcast day, podcast releasing day. Oh, at this point, you know that people are just waiting on it. And it's a thing, it's scheduled
It's a
upon
thing
their...
now.
It's a thing now. It's in their calendar. Podcast day, Sunday. It's podcast day. So we're here to serve and we're here to supply. Supply the nation, the world, the global people of this planet, and above, aliens, future generations.
Wow, that's really taking a turn.
With a good story. And that is what we are doing today. Today's story is from myself. And I've got a good one. I've got one filled with, well, that's the plot. I shan't speak about the plot just yet without that also important jingle. Are you ready?
Always.
Always?
Always ready.
Let's get it right. Here we go. R1, R2,
What's the plot?
What is it?
What's the plot?
Oh, come on,
What's
is it?
the plot?
Oh,
What's
you've got
the
to tell
plot?
me.
What's the
Please,
plot?
I'm dying
What's
to
the
know.
plot? What's the
I
plot?
need to know.
What's the plot?
What's the plot?
What's the plot?
Best one so far.
It's up there.
The plot of today's story is that of a heist. It's that of one of the biggest heists in Scandinavian history. And I realise that out of the episodes we've done so far, this is my second Swedish story.
Wow.
We're going to Sweden for this story.
Have you ever been?
So I've got a theme, and once again, this is my last one for a while. The next 10 stories I tell, I'm not going to involve Scandinavia. Because, quite frankly, I'm sick to death of the pronunciation. But they just produce some of the best stories.
Fair enough.
We're drinking again.
We are.
Wine again. We need to mix it up.
I've just gone for a smallie.
Next Sunday, no wine.
No.
Maybe a good wholesome herbal tea.
Maybe.
A fruit tea.
Peppermint, please.
Peppermint.
Yeah.
Or like a white wine. Different coloured wine. Rosé.
No.
Beer.
Maybe.
Make you a bit burpy though on the recording.
Most things do.
Notes of a good story to come.
Wow.
But before we get into that, where's your knowledge on smash and grabs? Do you know what smash and grab is?
I guess it's when you smash a window and grab it.
Yeah, well, just, you just run in. It's more of a smash and grab. It's more than a phrase. It's a lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
It's when
You went there.
It's not well thought out. You just go in, grab what you can and run away.
Okay.
Have you ever had your own smash and grab?
No.
Never. In your youth? A
No.
little smash and grab here and there?
No.
Never.
I mean, I guess the only thing I can relate it to is when you're a kid and your grandma says, right, come on, takes you to Woolworths.
Oh, careful.
And you get to go wild at the pick and mix.
And you steal them.
I know. I guess that's kind of like a smash and grab. You grab as much as you can, as much as fits in your cup or bag.
Do you eat some before weighing?
Nope.
Before paying?
No. I've never stolen anything in my life.
So then it's not a smash and grab, is it?
Well, no, but I'm just saying that's how I can relate to it. Like when you're at the pick and mix and you go wild and you're like, come on, need to get as much as I can.
A wholesome person.
And then you always top it off with the big steak.
Not very much a sweet person myself.
I am.
I've got into them. I like the mice.
Chocolate ones?
Little chocolate mice. I like chocolate.
Do you know the manufacturer of the chocolate mice is Hannah?
Oh,
Yeah?
wow.
Not me.
A company or a person?
The company's called Hannah.
Wow.
Or Hannah's.
Hannah's. They make the mice.
Hannah apostrophe S, yeah.
Love their products.
Yeah.
What else do they make?
Jazzies?
Oh, are those sour ones?
No, they're the like chocolate little discs with sprinkles on top. Tiny
No.
ones.
Flying saucers.
Tiny. No.
I like flying saucers.
I like flying saucers. Some people don't.
No, whoa. Animals. That's what we call them.
Heathens.
Heathens.
Anyway.
Is it story time?
Yeah, I think it is.
You
yeah.
think it is?
I'm comfy.
Right. This heist taking place, true story, in Sweden, happens to be the target of the heist, happens to be the G4S Cash Depot in Stockholm. Depot. What did I say?
Depot.
Depot. It's spelled depot.
Yeah, but it's depot.
Depot. Well, it happened in the G4S Cash Depot, which is hard to say on its own. G4S Cash Depot. Do you know what the G4S is?
No.
G4.
Oh, it's a security company, right?
It is a security
It's the people
company.
that do the cash machines. You see the vans?
Yes.
I do know it, I do!
G4S is like the world's biggest security
Yeah.
firm.
And they always come
company.
out with like a big
thing on. Yeah.
lockbox bag.
Well,
Yeah.
they're based in London. That's where their
Right.
headquarters. But they've got
Dotted around the world, right?
dotted around the world. There is this thing, I don't know if it's true, but in my research for this, that they have more people working for them than the British military.
Wow.
So, big security firm, world's biggest security firm. But one of their places is in the humble town of Stockholm, capital of Sweden. And this is the Cash Depot. Badly designed building,
Oh.
but it doesn't have to be. It's the G4S running the show.
Yeah.
They're the big dogs.
Sound like they're like a mafia.
Pretty much are. They're the big dogs in town. 6 floors, whatever. They handle all the money that goes through Sweden to go to like the banks and the cash machines, you know, the safest place in Sweden. But it's badly designed, just 6 floors. They count it on like floor 6. They bring it down, the vaults are at the bottom. So not great. There's also a glass pyramid skylight on top, which as attractive.
That seems like a design flaw for a cash company, right?
Looks great, architectural wonder, but not very safe. And in fact, the manager, the big boss of the
G4.
No, not the G4, just this one.
The branch, the Swedish
Just this
branch.
one branch, yeah. Used to always joke, but one day someone's going to break through that. Someone's going to break through it.
Oh, talk about tempting fate.
Tempting fate indeed. Well, one fateful date in September 2009.
Oh, wow, not that long.
No, there was a rumble throughout the building. Nothing to think of. There's always a rumble in the building. Old building. Lots of machinery going in there. And trucks driving to and forth. But this one sounded a little bit odd. A little bit not very inconspicuous of a sound. So the manager asked everyone, turn the machines off for a minute. Let me hear this sound. Let me see what's going on in the early wee hours of, I'm going to say 24th of September, but I don't know, top of my head. Turns out it's a helicopter. Helicopter above the building. Out the helicopter, like film style, drops 4 men. Sledgehammers.
Like Lupin.
Smash the skylight. Big ladder goes right through.
No.
6th floor. Down the ladder. Scale themselves in. They are in the building. This is serious stuff now. The building is being robbed. The manager's always joked about it happening. It's happening. He runs in to where everyone is. It's finally happening. Everything I've been joking about. They're coming in. They're coming in the skylight. Gets everyone into the safe room.
Understandable.
They're
They're safe.
good. They're good. They're safe. The robbers get on to go into the vaults to stealing.
Cash.
Stealing cash. That cash dollar.
What's the currency in Sweden?
Oh, I don't know. Kronas?
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 Dunno.
Probably kronas, right? Sounds about familiar.
Yeah.
But they got to do that. A word is that there's loads of gunshots in there. There's explosions. They've got a lot of explosions, but nobody's harmed.
Well, they're all in the safe place.
Yeah, so I don't know who's shooting who.
Maybe they're shooting locks.
Yeah. Or maybe they're just going around like, Wild Wild West, like, yeehaw!
Maybe.
We're in. The G4S, we're in the building. Yeehaw! But in more of a, well, I'm guessing everyone was Swedish, so more of a Swedish accent. So if you can do that in a Swedish accent. No. So they go in. Anyway, they're stealing. They're like smash and grab, notorious for being a quick in and out. Because you don't have time. Because obviously the manager alerted the police.
Obviously.
Police can't get there.
Why?
Why? Because they tried to drive. Whoop, 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 whoop. Turns out that before they did this, they went through like the area and put all those, those spiky things.
No.
Put all the spiky things on the road. So when the cars tried to go over, they all got flat tires.
Ugh.
So that saved them. That saved them some time. Right? Next thing you're thinking, well, get the big boys in the helicopters. Couldn't do it. 25 miles away was the closest helicopter pad. And when the pilots came out, there was a little box right on the pad and in another box near all the fuel with red blinky lights. Which
Oh,
basically just
no.
said bomb on it. Just a bomb.
In Swedish, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. It's kind of universal, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So they couldn't go there. Even if it was real, if it was fake. So they couldn't go there. They have to ring in the bomb squad. They have to check it out. Like I said, it's next to the fuel thing, so they're not
Danger.
legally can't do it.
No.
So no helicopters, no police cars. Right? The big boss director of the G4S is in Sweden, based in Sweden. So he runs about to the police headquarters and he's like, what is going on? Pulls out his little laptop and he gets live feed from the cameras inside, which shows these people blowing stuff up because they had like empty Coke cans,
Okay.
which they filled with whatever the stuff in gunpowder is.
Coke can be quite dangerous.
So they're just blowing stuff up, shooting around, and then all the other police are like, well, even if we could get there, I'm not going in. So now they've saved loads of time. They have to wait for the SWAT, but they're also not going to go in because there's hostages in there. They got guns. They got all this stuff. So they take pretty much as much money as they can. In fact, they could have took more money. They stopped taking money due to the fact
They ran out of room.
that they're just tired. They're just done
Oh,
with
it's
it.
needed a nap.
So it was a proper chilled smash and grab. Very chill. They could took their time. So they get off.
Smash and stroll.
Smash and stroll. Yeah, still, I think they cut off all the locks with like buzzsaws and get the ladders back out through the skylight. The helicopters just hovering around. They climb up. They're rushing her out like they've got somewhere to be. They don't have to rush, but they're rushing anyway. One of the guy like
Adrenaline, I would say.
probably adrenaline, right? The thrill of it. One of these guys like cuts himself on all the glass. They were like, it's hectic in there.
I can imagine.
Hectic. They get out, go on the helicopter. Whew, despair. Successful smash and grab of one of the world's most secure buildings.
Apart from the glass pyramid.
Apart from the glass pyramid.
Yeah.
But you'd think no one's going to rob the GS4 building.
G4S.
G4S building. Top security firm in the world. Who's going to...
You're right.
You might as well have no walls. No one's going to come in and rob anything. But they did.
They did.
They did. Now, it turned out that the bombs on the helipad were fake.
I assumed they would be.
Which I
But
think,
you wouldn't know.
Yeah, which I think everyone knew anyway, but you still have to call it in.
Of course you do.
We never knew how much money they took. Undisclosed amount of money. It was never
wow.
disclosed how
Isn't
much
that
they
weird?
took. But they held between, on the low end, 1 million.
Wow.
And on the high end, about 150 million.
Oof.
And even though it's not been disclosed, the day later, Swedish government had to say that you might well not go to cash machines because they might run out of money. So they basically stole
Sold a lot.
all the money in Sweden.
Okay.
Like, this is where the banks held the money.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even withdraw your money. They were gone with it all. 2 days later, they found the helicopter about 15 miles away in a forest somewhere. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the ins and out of it. It's basically a movie.
Yeah.
That's not
Have they
been
ever made a movie? No.
I don't think so. Maybe there's one like a Swedish one.
Maybe.
Probably. Makes sense. Because it's proper. I mean, they made a movie about Hatton Garden.
They did.
Hatton Garden.
Garden.
And
Garden. They did.
That was a good story.
It was.
But they didn't take up to possibly 150 mil.
They did in jewellery.
What did they?
Yeah.
150 mil. No wonder they made it into a movie.
It was a lot of money. It was
More
a
than
lot of
150
jewellery.
mil?
I think so. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they sold a lot of jewellery that equated to a lot of worth.
I'm going to Google it. Hatton Garden, 14 million.
Oh, okay.
So not even a sliver of what these
No.
possibly took. Not even a sliver. Wowzers. So I know what you're thinking. Well, what? Biggest smash and grab ever. Stole all the money from Sweden.
Did they catch them?
Did they catch them? Well, they caught a few people. And we're going to go through that because now we're going to shed some light on the mastermind behind this. Because who masterminds a smash and grab like this? How was it
Michael
successful? And was it successful? So it turns out that Michael Caine was in Sweden to do a film. No, it was not Michael Caine.
That's a shame.
So they made 7 arrests.
Okay.
Two of the people who were in the building, remember I mentioned the guy cut himself?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't just
Well,
say
they could
that for
identify
fun
the
of
blood,
it.
couldn't
They
they?
identified the blood, DNA.
Well, he screwed up.
He screwed up. They got that guy. I think he was trying to fly somewhere. Dominican Republic, I'm going to say. He went to the Dominican Republic, sent back. No, you're a criminal. Can't do that.
You're a money thief.
Money thief. The guy who put the bomb boxes on the helipads, he got caught due to inside he left, like, what are they called? Little plastic wiry things that you go zip ties.
Zip tie. Zip tie.
Zip tie? Zip tie?
Zip
Doesn't
tie.
sound right. Yeah. Well, they found some of those in there and they could have done his DNA on that. The guy who flew the plane, I think what he did, the helicopter, the big spinny plane. Afterwards, he had gloves, obviously. Don't want to get caught. And he burnt his gloves, but they didn't burn fully. And they got DNA of it. Found him as well. And the so-called mastermind of it. Now, here's the thing about the mastermind. They already pretty much knew he was going to do this. So, up until this day, there had never, ever been a helicopter heist in Sweden.
Okay.
It's not that popular. Mainly because you've got to get a helicopter.
Expensive, isn't it?
Expensive, hard work.
Do you know what, though? If you had the cash.
Is that a joke?
So rob the cash?
Oh, yeah. We got to get someone to fly it. You got to pay them off early, right?
Yeah.
So the mastermind, right, get this, was on a watch list already by the Serbian government because he arranged a meeting with a man called Milan Sevo.
Okay.
So he had arranged a meeting with Milan Sevo. Milan Sevo was a former Serbian mafioso. And the Serbian mafia pretty much ran Sweden. So it was Swedish mafia. And he was the former boss, or current boss, undisclosed.
Okay.
But point being, if someone arranges a meeting with him, they're going to check up on it, right?
Yeah.
So they had this meeting. They planned this meeting outside in public where they was going to chat through some, who knows?
Stuff,
right? Out in public, loads of dog walkers, loads of joggers, all that. They knew about this meeting, so they actually arranged undercover cops. So the joggers were actually undercover cops. And they were listening in on what you were saying to old
like
Milan.
Miss Congeniality.
Exactly like Miss Congeniality. Exactly like that is the story we're telling. So he meets him up. He meets him up with him. And he's asking for advice on the heist. And he's saying, oh, I'm going to run this heist. I'm going to need a helicopter. So it's pretty obvious that it's the guy. Because there's never been a helicopter heist. We've just had a helicopter heist. This guy was meeting with a mafia boss to
arrange a helicopter heist.
It seems pretty obvious, right?
Well, yeah, if you connect the dots, you'll make lines.
But they never did. Because the Serbian government had told them, hey, you might have a helicopter heist coming in the next few days. Turns out we've got intel. And they were just like, nah, that's
never happens here.
Helicopter heist. Well, that's the thing. This is why my stories keep going back to Sweden. There's a lot of heists in Sweden.
Is there?
Yeah. Turns out that
everyone really wants the Swedish meatballs from IKEA.
Worth stealing for.
Apparently so.
And the prices of their furniture? Wow. Oh my God, criminally low. The actual reason is that they got a lot of money in Sweden. Not probably got the best security. And they've got one of the most lenient jail time.
Okay.
So, if you're going to do a heist, but you're not going to do it in China.
No.
Because you're going to get death penalty.
Yeah.
So you're going to do it in Sweden, right? We get nice. And, I'm sure Swedish prisons are very much like IKEA. You get lost in there anyway.
Yeah.
Probably got great furniture, great food.
Probably.
So a lot of heists
Lingonberry
actually
jam.
there. Yeah. But this was the first helicopter one. So they already knew this. But here's the kicker. So they arrest these guys. They get between 1 and 7 years. Which depends how you look at it. They didn't actually hurt anyone.
No, but
it was a massive heist. They only got back about half of the money. Which means there's somewhere in the range of 1 to 75 million pounds. So they never found the money.
Well, all of it.
They never found all the money. They found half of it, and they never arrested all the people. Like I said, 4 people was in the building, and they only arrested only 2 of those people. Out of the 7 arrests they made, only 2 was part of that building. And you can see footage of this. There is footage online, the CCTV, so you can watch this. This is YouTube. It'll be on here right now. If you're listening to this, I'll just reenact it. You ready?
Born ready.
I'm doing it as there's no sound on the phone. So.
Oh.
But so at least 2 of them are still out there
With a lot of money.
a lot of money.
Can they not do notes, like cash dollar notes, cash bills? No. Don't they all have serial numbers?
Yeah.
Which is how they use to track stolen money. Why have they not tried to do that?
Because how far are you going to track that back? Like, they clearly sat on this money for a little bit, probably washed it, as in they flew to some country that they wasn't going to get sent back from. Not every country is going to send back a criminal. They'll be happy to take the money. Dominican Republic isn't one of those. So whoever flew there was silly goose.
I just thought for at least 5 years after, they'd probably be watching them serial numbers going through the banks, the cash machine. Even when you go to a travel exchange in a foreign country.
Maybe, I don't know. But what I do know is this was 2009 and still half that money's out there. And at least 2 people. And let's be honest, there's probably more people.
Probably, yeah.
And it's still out there.
Wow.
So not only was it the biggest smash and grab, and the biggest...
I still think we should call it a smash and stroll.
Smash and stroll. Not only was it a smash and stroll, it was the first helicopter heist, probably the last helicopter heist, the biggest amount of money, one of the most profitable heists ever, and they never caught the people.
Crazy.
It could be anyone.
Could be you.
Could be me. Could be you.
Never been Sweden, have you?
Well,
He's not allowed to say.
Sweden? Oh, what? Where's that?
Been IKEA though.
With a swear?
With a swear.
Oh no, not me. Never been Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
And that wraps up today's story.
It's a very good story. Well done.
Another Sunday, another story. We should have called it Sunday Stories.
Wow.
That's the plot.
Yeah, I know. I heard it. I
That's
was
the
sitting
plot.
right here.
That's the plot.
Yeah, I've heard
That's
it.
the plot.
Really good story.
That's
well
the
done.
plot.
Right,
That's the plot.
You don't need
That's
to
the
keep
plot.
going on about.
That's the plot.
That's the plot.
Woo! And now it's time for that all-important segment, Viewer Stories. Let me see what our viewers have been asking today. Ooh, here we go. Viewer Stories. Nothing. Do you have any stories relating to Sweden, heist, a lot of money, or criminals, or helicopters?
No.
You ever been in a helicopter?
No, I've not. Have you?
No. You ever stole large amounts of money?
No.
Small amounts of money?
No.
Oh.
Actually,
Here we go.
my dad, on his bedside table, the top drawer was always full of loose change.
Ooh.
So it was obviously back in the 90s when no one had heard of a debit card. Gosh, it was you pay for your food shop in cash or a cheque. Do have vivid memories of my mum paying for our food shop with a cheque, and I was like, God, that's so modern. You know what I mean?
So modern.
Anyway, so he'd go to the pub on a Saturday and he was around, and then he'd put his loose change in this drawer. This drawer had loads of loads. Foreign money because he travelled for work a lot, and we went on holiday sometimes, if the month ended.
Profitably.
If it ended well. That's a joke, by the way. We went on one holiday a year. Every year.
One holiday a month?
No. So there was just a lot of loose change in there. Now, he definitely knew I did this, but I was young, and I used to think, I'd go meet up with my friends at the park and be like, I really want a bag of rainbow drops and kind of fizzy pop. Well, I was down south, so it was kind of fizzy drink. So I'd go and take £1 or 2 out of his change drawer. You'd have to rummage a bit to find the pound coins, because imagine going with a lira. The little country bumpkin village wouldn't know what had hit it. So I used to do that, and I did it quite a lot. And the reason why I think he knew what I was doing and wasn't mad about it, because he was my dad, is over time the pound coins got easier to find because they'd always moved them to the top. So, I mean, yes, you can technically say I have stolen money, but I think he knew I was doing it. You can ask him, maybe next time we see him.
I don't have to.
Why? Because he's here now!
Because he's here now and he wasn't sure, and we set up this elaborate plan. Welcome in.
Alistair. Have you ever stole anything?
Oh.
You can say whatever's not going to incriminate you if there's a lot.
There's not a lot. What do you think?
Well, you were like, oh.
Where do I start from my stealing career? So I've done some smash and grabs. We used to do those back in the day. What ones, like going to the shop? When you're like a kid, you go into a shop, you spread out, and then you kind of go, 1, 2, 3, grab what you can and go, smash and grab! And you grab it and you run out. That's why I asked you if you've had one, because I feel like everyone just did that. Maybe it was just like...
I think I'm seeing you in a different light right now.
Maybe
and
just,
I don't think I like it.
Maybe it's just where I grew up. I like much things. Or like you'd steal some like Mars bar. Because Mars bars were... Ooh,
they were...
expensive.
They were.
So you just stick a little Mars bar up your sleeve. Never... No. One time when I was on holiday, I stole a necklace which had like an eagle on it. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, like one of those cheap ones. Yeah. It's like £10 or something.
That's not cheap.
It's pretty cheap for a necklace with a big eagle on it.
Okay.
My mum wouldn't buy it for me. So I said, well, you know, I'm only here.
Why wouldn't Debsy buy it for you?
Too expensive. So maybe not that cheap.
I was going to say, £10 back in the day as well.
Maybe that was well. But I thought to myself, it was still cheap enough to be on the hanging wraps that you can spin around. So I just thought, 3 more days left. They ain't never going to find me. So I stole it. But then that one I gave back. I unstole it. So I snuck it back in the next day.
Why? Because you felt guilty? Or did Debsy find it?
No, I didn't feel guilty.
Well, you should have.
I should have. I felt like it was too big of a crime. Mars bar is one thing. And even when you do like the smash and grabs, you don't always smash and grab. Sometimes it's just about the fun. It's not the thrill. You'll take like a packet of quavers or something.
But you're still stealing something.
Yeah, not good. But when you're a kid. When you're a kid. But this one, I thought, oh, it's too
much.
big. This is jewelry.
Do you know what?
I'm a jewel thief.
When the fun stops.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, what if they catch me?
Where was your holiday stops?
Scarborough. So I thought, wow, I've got, get this out the caravan.
Yeah. So
I took it back.
Well done. That's really noble.
And unstole it by pretending I was looking at the stuff. And when no one was looking, I stuck it back on the shelf.
Well done. That's really noble of you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We still not got a full ending to these podcasts.
I'm sure it will come in time.
No intros, no endings. These are the tweaks we're talking about in episode 1 about.
Yeah.
Maybe with a crisp high five. Or is that too cringer?
Oh, that was a good one. Look at that.
Scene.